What's up, guys? Coming to you live from the tool shed in the Midwest. I just wanted to talk about something that's constantly on my mind, especially right now with the way the job market is. And for anybody that's wanting to switch careers or break into becoming a mechanic of any kind, especially diesel mechanics, they're in high demand, really high demand, especially where I live. I see job postings for them all the time on Indeed and local ads, signs, and I'll tell you what, if you don't think you can do it, or you're like, I don't know anything about it, trust me, if you can turn a wrench, maybe you're a weekend DIYer. I went from working in IT, I mean, this has been a little while, but I worked in I was a mechanic for your normal passenger vehicles, cars, pickup trucks, you name it, and some agriculture equipment occasionally. I went from working on that stuff, terrible mechanic, got a little better here and there. Then one day I decided, maybe I want to try IT, got into that. Did that for about 7 years, had a cushy office job, and things started to change in the office environments and all across the nation, and I really wasn't feeling it because, I don't want to get into too much detail, but you couldn't say certain things and do certain things, joke about certain things, whatever. I mean, I'm not there to hurt people's feelings or talk bad about people, but, you got to watch the language, please, if you get what I'm saying. But anyways, if you want to get into diesel mechanic or mechanics in general, right now is the time to do it. Trust me. There's a huge demand and a lack of people across the board, nationwide. Now, it's obviously going to depend on where you live. If you live closer to a big hub city, like St. Louis or Chicago, any of these kind of places. But trust me, I bet you can get in the door somewhere as like a entry level or a helper or something. Kind of treat it like it's a trade job, like a union trade job, and you're just trying to gain some experience. Don't walk in there expecting to get huge pay, but I guarantee you'll probably make more than what most of your buddies that work in retail at the auto parts store or anywhere, Walmart, just to throw out some names. But a lot of diesel shops, they have good benefits, good enough. I mean, I know they're all not the same, but some will pay better, some will have better benefits. You got to find what's right for you. But if you're just hungry and you want to get out there and start making $1 and start gaining skill, because here's the trick I'm gonna share with a lot of people, and I'm not the only person that does this. I'm definitely not the first person to do this. What you do is apply. Write up a resume and obviously your first gig is not going to be probably that great, or you're just not going to have the skill set built in your resume yet. But anything, man, just get some help with somebody that that's really good at writing resumes. Even if you have to do some side gigs or whatever, take some pictures of it, because if you go to a smaller shop and you show them, like, look, this is some of the stuff that I've done, here's some of my experience, I really want to get into this, you have a good chance that, that'll definitely help you out. Another thing that is getting in the door, there's other ways. A thing my dad told me a long time ago, and it stuck with me, is that, back when I wanted to get in IT or a different kind of field from automotive, he said, even if you get in the mailroom at a big office, corporation, whatever, it's your foot in the door. Same thing with shops. Just get your foot in the door. Maybe they need a parts runner. Do that for a little bit. Before I got back into diesel, I got with a nationwide trash company that drives the big blue trucks. You'll figure out who it is real quick. Starts with an R. And I started off as a shop clerk. My IT experience helped me land that job, and I had database experience. Sorry, my dog's making noise. He's over here trying to get in the shed. Go. But anywho, the thing about resumes and landing jobs in different fields is you got to use everything your skills and past experience, if you have it, to your advantage. That's really about the only thing you got to lean on at that point. And a lot of good supervisors and managers will look at, when a resume hits their desk, they'll look at them like, all right, this guy don't really have anything in this field exactly, but he has these skills that could bring something new to the table. A lot of companies are doing that nowadays. I mean, I've transitioned from different job fields and more than once. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Another thing that's really important, you gotta be a people's person to some degree. I know it's easy to be quiet. When I'm working, I'm usually a pretty quiet guy. I'll crack jokes and stuff here and there in between things. But when I'm working, I'm laser focused and I don't want to be bothered. You know, just get the job done kind of thing. And I don't get me wrong, I don't constantly bust my butt, but I do when the time is right. When things need to get done, it's like, hey, this guy's waiting on his truck. Let's get it out of here. I do what I can to get it done. Again, I'm not the fastest worker, and I probably never will be. But I try to do the best of my abilities when I can. And I'm doing good. I'm making decent paychecks. I'm moving up pay. You might have to jump from job to job to make more money, but that's just the way things work nowadays. It's not the old way. You don't start one company and work the rest of your life and retire in most cases. Some you can, but most times you won't. So that's another thing. I learned that from the IT world. In the IT world, you don't stay with one company forever. You every year to 2 years, you jump ship usually to move up, unless you're with a company that you're really comfortable with and they do have good inside promotions. There are some out there, but it's not always the case. Especially if you're starting with small companies and you're trying to work your way up and build your resume. It's similar in the diesel world and mechanic world in general. The more you know, the more you're worth. And the better you are at it, the more you're worth too. If you're efficient and fast and you just knock jobs out and you don't have comebacks all the time, you're gonna do great. But where I'm going with all of this is, you gotta have the personality of, I'm going to come in every day. I'm not going to be taking a bunch of days off calling in and just because. Obviously, sometimes you need to. Sometimes stuff happens. It's life. I know. I have a kid. I have a house. I have a woman. Things happen. Man, your car breaks down. You get a flat tire. Companies expect that. I should say most companies do. Good companies that realize things happen in life. And I've worked for a lot of good companies. There are a lot of good ones still out there, especially when I worked in the trash industry. I got lucky, and I know big companies, it really depends on where you're at and who your supervisor is. That makes the world of a difference in who their boss is. So, sometimes you got to do a little investigation work before you get into a certain company. You just try to find a way in, try to get it, whether if you're trying to get in to work there or you're thinking about it. There's people online that's more than happy to talk about the job. But the other thing is, don't rely on, postings about people complaining. The thing about that is, there's a lot of people out there that get bent out of shape because they weren't that great of a worker to begin with, and they can't comprehend that for some reason, and they write really bad reviews about companies. Same with the trash companies, man. There's nothing wrong. There are some places that are some real holes in the walls that will treat you like garbage, literally. So, but again, if you're reading online reviews, take it with a grain of salt. Your best thing to do is try to, do a little social engineering phishing, if you will, if you're coming from the IT world. You'll get what I'm talking about. Try to find somebody on the inside, ask them some questions about it. More likely, people like to talk about themselves and what they do. Obviously, I'm here. I like to talk about anything because that's what I do. So, once you get this built up, the next step is keep tabs on everything you do. Memorize it, write it down. I got a notebook that I write it's like a legal paper document book that I've carried with me from jobs, and it has references in there of things that might only be related to that job, to that company, how to do things with their computers, for their ticket system or whatever. But it also has, which might help you down the road, who knows, but other things it has in there is when I was having certain problems with certain kind of trucks, especially ones that it was really, I found it important to write it in there so I wouldn't forget it in the future. That helps a lot, man. And not only that, but also with keeping tabs on all the things you work on, you can use that for your resume. especially when you're applying for diesel mechanic. I know it helps a lot. It's a little harder for me to speak to the automotive, your normal passenger vehicles right now because I haven't been in that field in a very long time, but I'm sure it's the same thing. List what you know. List your certifications if you have any. And hey, guess what? If you don't have any certifications, you can still work. I mean, there's still things out there you can do. I mean, a lot of shops, they will teach you, and then if not, they'll send you to a class. I did it at the trash company. They got me air brake certified. They got me, electrical program. They got me, what else? I think I did PM, preventative maintenance kind of stuff. I knew it all before I went into those classes, but I got a piece of paper for just showing up, getting paid to show up, saying, hey, look, I know how to do this stuff, and it's valuable. There is value to it. Don't ever think it's not. There is. And if you're working for a company that's really pushing all these different things you can take every one you can. Don't be one of them guys. I have worked with plenty of guys that, I've seen plenty of guys and kids do this, younger guys. They'll be like, oh, I don't see the point now. Why would I do that? From other shops, working for dealerships, commercial truck dealerships. I'll be like, man, I don't want to do that class. I don't want to get certified in this and that. Do it. It's it's a piece of paper, but it's a piece of paper with your name on it, and it says, hey, I attended this class, and I should know how to do this now. So, another piece of advice. If you're going to, learn as much as you can on the company's time. Save your own wallet, I have no formal diesel education. I didn't go to school for it. Automotive, same thing. When I worked in automotive, I learned from getting my hands dirty on my own stuff first. And then also, my stepdad, he's a mechanic. He was really involved in that stuff. He worked on everything. He's been a diesel mechanic for as long as I can remember, But he also, worked on everything else. He had race cars, he had motorcycles, he had a boat, with a Chevy 454 in it, all kinds of stuff, So I was around that stuff all the time. So I was already mechanically inclined from a fairly young age. I was fixing my own bicycle. He had the tools, so I just went out there and learned how to replace my inner tube or replace my chain, whatever, So it was easy for me. But what my point is, anything, once you get in there and you start learning, document things on your resume. Because the more you build your resume, the better it looks on you. But don't bloat it with dumb stuff, obviously, but make it appropriate for the skill set you're at. That will help you out a lot. And be honest with companies when you're going through the hiring process. That'll help you out a lot, because if you have a good boss that's doing an interview with you, they're gonna be like, they're gonna respect you more for being honest with them. Because if you show up and you're just dropping the ball left and right, they're gonna be like, why the hell did we hire this guy? Let's get rid of him. They're just gonna think you're a bad mechanic. Don't do that. Just be honest. But look, whether it's your first gig or your 10th gig, just be like, look, these are the things I work. I got a list of things that I've worked on. I'm not an expert at any of them, none, but I know enough to get the job done in most cases, and I know enough people too. This is another important thing. Have a good circle of people. Keep contacts with your old, people that you worked with at different companies, because there might be something that you forget or something that shows up once in a blue moon, and there's that old guy that works at that shop that you started at that knows everything, and he's still working, and he's like 80 something years old and don't want to retire. Call that dude up, because if you're if you're a good person and you got good personality and you make a lot of friends and acquaintances, it's like having your little black book. You can just go through your phone, find that guy, call him up, send him a text, whatever the case might be. There's tons of use your resources to your advantage, because it's all about how you do it and what you do with it. So those are just some tips that I got to give to these, anybody that's new and wanting to come into the field. There's plenty of opportunity right now. In 2022, the job market is exploding. There's not enough guys. There's a lot of guys aging out that's retiring. I still work with, I still see those old guys hanging in there, but tell you what, they ain't gonna hang in there forever. There's only so much time on our bodies that can handle it, or so much up here or health wise that we can, stay on this earth. So eventually we're gonna go. So the best thing you can do, learn as much as you can at work. Obviously first things, get your foot in the door, start getting experience. Learn as much as you can at your job. Make friends. or acquaintance at the very least. Be nice. Don't talk a bunch of crap to other guys. Just come in, have a great positive attitude. That'll go a long ways. That alone gets you jobs too, honestly. I've gotten jobs just based off my attitude and having a good personality. To me, it's easy. I don't know why most people can't do it, but then again, I haven't walked in their shoes, so I don't know. What else? Keep notes, keep your resume up to date. Hey, one last secret. Right now, we have something that our dads and our grandparents and so forth didn't have. We have the internet. The internet's awesome because it gives us places like Indeed or ZipRecruiter. All you got to do is get on there, update your resume, use it. It don't cost you anything. It might cost you a little bit of your private data, but if it means making more money and that's important to you, and landing good quality jobs down the line, it's well worth it, dude. I mean, I'm all about privacy with my data, but sometimes, you got to give a little, you got to get a little, take a little. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. So, get out there. You young guys that are thinking about doing it, hell, even you older guys. I got back into the job, turning wrenches when I was on the crest of turning 30. So, hey, there's opportunity there. Get out there, do it. Be kind, learn, get paid. I mean, it's simple as that. Later, guys.